He's done a great job for 40 years. He's my friend, Mr. Fred Heumann.
I have about 5 people out here who could have introduced me, and any of them would have done a great job, but John has been with me from day one. I think we were 16 years old when we met, and I appreciate your friendship more than you know. What's the definition of a friend? For me, it's somebody who would drop anything they're doing and drive to the end of the earth if you need him, and that's John, and I appreciate that. I got up this morning, I said, I better think about what I'm going to say, because I don't rehearse anything. Ask anyone that's ever done my shows. I don't even follow script. So I probably won't follow any format here other than to talk to you about how honored I am, and I want to congratulate John. Your words were wonderful. And Dr. Hartman and Sheila, who you're from, my fellow inductees, I'm honored to be a part of this class. I read your bios and I said, what in the hell am I doing here? Because I didn't get into this business for any awards or any honors or any Hall of Fames. It's just something I wanted to do. You'll have to, my wife is a worrier, and you'll have to listen to her. She's worried about everything. She's worried about her hair tonight. She's about what dress she's going to wear. You know what I always tell her? I tell her, you know what I worry about? Who's pitching tonight and what time's the game start? Those are like the only 2 things in life I worry about. And I think that kind of directed me to this career. My passion for sports made me want to be a big part of it so much. And when I got the call from my fellow Hall of Famer and good friend Roger Hart to tell me I'm in the CMU Hall of Fame, I thought it was a gag, and then I said, I guess that means I'm really old. And that's how I felt. And then I think my kids are here, and I got 9 grandchildren and 2 on the way. That's 11. Now I really feel old. But I know that thank yous get boring, and I don't want to list everybody, but I'm so flattered by the people that are here tonight, including John. My boss at Channel 6, Jim Sutter, is here. And when you're my boss, that's not an easy thing to do. I think he's the longest tenured news director in my career, because all the rest of them got rid of me. And I appreciate Jam from WLNS being here tonight. A gentleman that goes way back with me and came in tonight from Muncie, Indiana, where he was at Ball State for many years after his time at Central Michigan, Dr. Joe Mashevitz. If you'd stand up, please, Joe, and I'm not going to have everyone stand up, but a couple of people I have. Dr. Joe started this for me and so many of my colleagues. He was way ahead of his time. Now this, you got to remember, this is not 2018. This is 1977, 8, 9, 80 when I was there. And he had kids doing newscasts, he with some help, but he started this News Central and had kids doing newscasts like they, so it wasn't, you didn't have to be book smart. Boy, am I living proof of that. But he had people doing practical things that they were going to do in the real world. It's why I'm doing what I'm doing now. It's why so many others are doing what they do. I don't tell you often enough, but you are a pillar to CMU broadcasting, and you're the reason so many people are in it. And I'm honored that you're here tonight, Dr. Joe. There were others here at the time, Bob Bronlick and Dr. Peter Orlick, who headed the department, and Dr. Jerry Henderson, who were so instrumental in my career, and a gentleman by the name of Mike Carey, who was at WCEN Radio and owned it, and gave me the opportunity when I was at Central to do games on the side, and I did color commentary on high school basketball and high school football, and I did some CMU games with him. I got the nicest note from him this week. WCMU TV, which was at the time just starting to do some sports. They had one position for a student on all of campus, and guess who got it? And Mike DeGudas, who was here at the time, and later Rick Shadisky, who helped steer my career into television. You know, I had the ultimate face for radio, and they got me into television, and I honed my craft, hosting the Dick Parfit Show and doing games on WCMU TV, and I appreciate their guidance and them steering me and their training and their professional advice. He wasn't in journalism or broadcasting, but another gentleman that's here tonight is one of my great friends, Mr. Dave Kylitz. He and his wife Sue are here tonight. Dave was the great baseball coach here at Central Michigan. We took a picture beforehand, me and him, and I said, put on the caption of this picture, this is 7 Hall of Fames. He's in 6 of them, I'm in 1. And I appreciate his friendship. I was his scorekeeper and his statistician. This was before the internet, and I used to slide the statistics under his door so he could go on the radio show and talk to his team. I appreciate the opportunities I had, but I appreciate your friendship more than you know. Dick Parfit and Dr. Walt Schneider and Herb Duramity were the coaches when I was here, and they were so good to me and helped hone my craft. And Jerry Craig, who I worked with at the Sports Information Department, and I didn't know or work with them, but Jim Wojcik, who's been mentioned here tonight, even though he's going to be here, you're a pillar in this university. You've led many people to this world too. And I salute you for all the lives you have pointed in this direction. Dave Llewellyn is standing back there. He's the big star at WXYZ in Detroit, who just got promoted to the #1 newscast job at Channel 7. He was really the guy who started this also, because we were college classmates and we did radio together, and then he got into television because he was better looking than I was and he was skinny. I wasn't either one. Still am not, but he called me one day and said, how would you like to do television? I started laughing. I said, television, me? So here it is 38 years later and I'm still doing television, and he's the guy that steered me to it. Sometimes I wanted to kill you. Thank you. And by the way, Dave deserves to be in this Hall of Fame. We need to get him in here. That's my personal opinion. Gentleman who's no longer with us, and I wasn't close to him, I know Coach Kylitz was, but a proud CMU grad by the name of Dick Enberg was a great influence on me. God rest his soul. I remember interviewing one day, and when I was in Detroit for a feature story I was doing, and at the time, for whatever reason, my career wasn't doing what I wanted it to do. And I wasn't going where I wanted to do, and I just started getting some advice from him, and he said, you know what, success in this business is not measured by the money you make, the promotions you get, the interviews you get, or the games you cover. It's by the people you touch. And I thought about that, and I came up with a feature called The Human Touch, based on that advice from Dick Enberg. God rest your soul, Dr. Enberg. You are a proud CMU alum, and I'm proud to have known you. That's a little emotional for me because we just lost Dick recently, and we lost a giant in our business. Terry Foster is here, a fellow Hall of Famer. Terry and I were classmates. He was in here long before I was, deservedly so, and we covered a lot of ball games together. We'd sit in front of Bill Lambeer's locker, and some young reporter would come in and Terry, you know, you ask your first question to somebody, he'd say, nice game, Bill, and he'd say, that's a statement, what's your damn question? Remember those days, Terry? So we covered a lot of interesting characters. My family's here tonight, which probably is what I was looking as much forward to tonight as anything. My wife, Tammy, stand up, Tammy. Just stand up. He was the one wondering how she looked tonight. Let me just say this. It's a good thing I... All right, sit down. Remember, this is my stage. Yeah. If you take a look at Tammy, you can realize it's a good thing our first date we went to dinner rather than to lunch, because it was at night and I got her in the dark. Otherwise, I had no chance. But it's not easy being married to me. Ask my ex-wives, I know all about it. And I appreciate your support, and even though you hate sports and don't understand it, I appreciate you at least putting up with it. She realized my love of baseball at an early time, because I love baseball more than life. I mean, I love all sports, but I love baseball more than anything. And she came home one day, and I attended a doubleheader somewhere. I came home, I kicked off my shoes, had a little dinner, then I watched a couple of baseball games, and I think both of them went to extra innings. And she's always been good-natured about it, and she walked in and she said, you know what, I'm starting to think that you love baseball more than me. And I thought about it, and I said, yeah, but I love you way more than soccer and volleyball and basketball. So I appreciate you sticking with me and putting up with that. My son Rob, my daughter Melissa, and their spouses are here today. I apologize for all the days that I wasn't there and all the games that I was at and all the hours at work, but you always understood too, and I'm proud of both of you and all of you and your spouses, and I'm glad you're here tonight. It wouldn't be the same without you. My sister Kathy and her husband Bob have been great pillars of strength to me over the years. My sister doesn't know anything more about sports than Tammy does, but she has put up with me and encouraged my career, and I so appreciate that. My stepkids, Sadie Smith, who's here, Travis Sink, have welcomed me into the family. Another co-worker is here tonight, Alex Sims, who's going to be a star in the future, and I appreciate your loyalty and you being here, Alex. Good friends are here tonight. I wasn't going to mention everybody, but Brian Bender is here. Brian's the director of broadcasting for the Detroit Lions forever. He was my intern back in Flint, back in the 80s, and we're still good friends. We must talk every day, and he and John are two guys I talk to every day, and Brian's been a big supporter of mine, and as long as I keep taking his money on the golf course, I'll keep you as a friend. Greg Walterhouse, who I worked with at Channel 2, great photojournalist, is here tonight. He and Doug Tracy, who couldn't be here, were two of my best friends and two of my favorite people to work with. Most of all, I want to thank this university and CMU in this ring I wear so proudly. This place, as I mentioned with Dr. Joe, has led so many people to so many paths and careers. I mean, everywhere I go, people say, is the whole world from Central? And I say, you're darn right.
Amen.
Darn right. I used to have a slogan when I was here, I don't know if they still use it, that CMU is big enough to matter and small enough to care. And I've always felt that. And this university has been so important. It's everything I have. Everything I had started here at CMU. I'd be nothing today without it. I mean, ask my family. I can't hammer a nail in a wall. My mom in 1970, I was reminded of this today, and I think it's true. My mom, my dad had just died, and she bought me a Buick Skylark my freshman year. John knows all about that. And it was a red Buick Skylark, and I was able to have a car on campus as a freshman. And when Dave hired me at WJAM Channel 6 in 1981, that was 6 years ago, I got the first oil change. I didn't know you had to change your oil. 30,000 miles, I didn't get a light that came on. So, the point is that I knew nothing, and Central Michigan gave me a career. Central Michigan, with its journalism and broadcast and cinematic arts department, and the wonderful leaders that I've mentioned and the people that were here, gave me a direction. I mean, I wasn't a great student. I remember I had a sociology test on a Thursday night, and I went to my instructor on Tuesday, and this is dead serious, and I don't say it to be funny, it's funny because it's true. We had a nighttime quiz, or a test, on a Thursday night. And I went in and pleaded and said, I can't be there, and he thought there was something really wrong with my family. The Red Wings had a playoff game that night. I was in my red Buick Skylark, and I missed the test, and I don't remember how I did with it. But that was my legitimate, that's the way I thought. But I've also believed that this business and success in any walk of life is 5% inspiration and 95% perspiration. It's the way I've lived, it's the way I've done it, it's the way I'll continue to do it. It's in my blood. I'm 38 years in the business and 61 years old. I still race to work. I can't wait to get there. I haven't thought about retirement for 5 minutes. God willing, if I stay healthy, I'll do this as long as I can. It's a passion of mine. It's something I love to do, and it started at CMU. I can't stress that enough. Through all the things I was able to do here at Central, from News Central to WCMU TV, with Coach Kylitz, to to freelancing and doing broadcasts and doing games, to being able to write on the side. It's led me to everything I've ever had in life. CMU, and I'm doggone proud of it. My career has taken me so many places in 38 years. It's allowed me to cover some unbelievable events and meet some great people. And I don't want to name drop, but two of them in particular and something they've said have had a lasting impact on me. Just simple little lines. And they're people that you'll recognize, so I don't like to name drop, but I got to know Sparky Anderson, the Hall of Fame manager of the Detroit Tigers and Cincinnati Reds, and I knew Sparky better after his days in baseball. I knew him better in retirement. But he used to always say, and I asked him once, I said, well, Sparky, I'm a nobody. This was when I was in Flint in the 80s. I said, why are you so doggone nice to me? And he didn't know me very well. He put his arm on my shoulder. He said, Freddie, my boy, in his broken English, he said, it don't cost a dime to be nice to people. I've never forgotten that. Shouldn't we all live that way? It don't cost a dime to be nice to people. What a way to live! And then many years later, another Hall of Famer who I did befriend, very close to, a gentleman by the name of Ernie Harwell, God rest his soul. And I interviewed Ernie one day, and I was at his home, and he and Lulu would have me over, and we were out in front of his fireplace, and I was doing an interview, and I kind of asked the same kind of question. Many years later that I asked to Sparky, I said, Ernie, you are revered in this state. Everybody loves you. How do you pull that off? Everybody has enemies. You have none. And he said to me, I learned a long time ago that in life you have a choice between being right and being kind. And I choose kind. Is that a great way to live? And Ernie lived it. And I'm not up to those people. I'm not at their level of quality of life or quality of person, but both those statements have had great impacts on me. Choose being kind rather than being right. Don't cost a dime to be nice to people. I'm humbled by this night. I'm almost embarrassed by it. I'm not sure I deserve it. But I tell you what, you're not getting it back. Thank you so much.